Hi, this is Linda Lily Kranz, and this is my third video, and I thought I would start this one because I had read an article which started me thinking about conversations I've had over the decades regarding teachers and their qualifications, their certifications. And the reason why I bring this up is because I was certified as a teacher at Western Michigan University, and I also was certified through two different Montessori certification teacher preparation programs. And so I got a different type of formative years in preparing me to teach. And I wanted to share also because in consideration of who is my audience. And my audience is parents like me, and I am a parent first. And I am also a teacher. So I come to working with my daughter with special needs both as a parent and as somebody that has had extensive training in being a teacher. Also, my audience is colleagues I've worked with in the past, and I really appreciate being able to speak with everyone, because being a parent of a person with special needs, or just being a parent, can be quite isolating at times. Especially since 2007, I really basically retired from my career in the classroom. And I really did love it, and I did enjoy it, and they were very formative years for me. So let me backtrack a little bit so you know what my background is educationally as a teacher. And also I wanted to share too, being that I haven't had a lot of conversations with colleagues recently, some of the words that I may use, like methodology, curriculum, please forgive me. I like to exercise in using the vocabulary that is applied to teaching, and also I've been away from the current updates in vocabulary. And if any of you have relocated from one state to another, you will notice that the same concept is at the root of what a curriculum program has, and they will use different vocabulary, even with us teachers. I'm trying to think. For example, I believe when I came to Colorado, it was differentiated education. And in the Montessori classroom, I believe we simply follow the child specifically. So that is an example. So parents, if you have any questions or you want any clarification on what I'm sharing with you, I certainly would be happy to. So I think I've covered my audience and family, friends, past colleagues, educators, and young persons interested in my dog's here, wanting to be petted, that thinks I'm sitting here. So, and that's another story. Our dog, it's actually Trinity's dog, is Erin, and she's a service dog. So I'll make another video about Erin, our service dog, another time. The topic of discussion really is what makes for a good teacher. And I think this is important to consider because you don't have to be a certified, fully trained teacher to be a good teacher. And let me explain this, because I also believe that yes, you do need intensive training in methodologies, diagnostics, and interpreting curriculum developmentally. So I think you need both, because one without the other doesn't work, and sometimes that gift as much as you have all the details and the pedagogy and the methodology of using instruction, you don't have the other. And I have worked with, because of Montessori, you usually have an assistant in the room or a co-teacher. I have worked with people that have had the best training and still don't have what it takes to be a quality teacher, and maybe it's not at that time. Maria Montessori talked a lot about the development of the teacher or the directress being something that happened internally, and it was formative, and it was something that you worked on, journeyed through. And let me go back to something that was very significant for me back in, I think, 1977. I wanted to be a teacher. Western Michigan University is a teacher's college. And I loved the language arts. I loved children's literature. So I got involved in what was called a pilot program for integrated language arts. We met all day Tuesday and Thursday. I think it was from 8 a.m. till 3 or 4 p.m. And we had 5 or 6 professors from different departments. And I'm going to do this from memory because I don't exactly remember all the departments, but they weren't necessarily part of the teacher education program. And I believe there was one professor, and I believe he was from the psychology department, and that was new for him to be part of the teacher education preparation program. And then we also had somebody from child development, early childhood development, from birth through age 5 or 6. We had somebody from the children's literature department. Oh, and yes, we did have another professor that was from the writing department. And what I learned was, which was very interesting for me, is they shared with me that I was one of the first people that was able to integrate all these interdisciplinary approaches and get it. So I don't know what that says about me, but I think that is a common thread, whether you're trained or not trained, is when you're in the classroom to be able to look at a whole picture. And I will compare that with interviewing for a job in the public school system, where they would rather hire someone that has taught first grade for 11 years rather than someone that has taught early childhood through middle school. And I'll let you contemplate and think on that one, because I would disagree with that. My premise would be that if you understand human development, and so when you're in your classroom and you have a first grade class and you have 24 to 32 students, you're able to see the spectrum. You can get the whole picture. You know where someone's at. You can kind of figure out developmentally where they're at and figure out where they're at in understanding the concepts of mathematics or language development. So that is where I think that it is important to focus on. And that's what I think makes a parent a good teacher. And that's what I think makes a para that has worked for years. Hands-on, they have been doing an internship in the classroom working with special needs students. And that's not to say that all paras understand instruction. If they have a good supervising teacher, then they are in a hands-on learning environment. But then again, this is going to bring up another concern of mine, and this is anecdotal, is that when you have persons that are teacher aides or paras that don't have the mastery or the experience in understanding instruction or understanding curriculum or understanding what's out there to be creative and spontaneous with the needs of a student, then I think that it's to the disadvantage of whomever the student is, whether it be in general. That's what I discovered in 4 years ago when I was starting to plan Trinity's iPad, that the classroom or the curriculum was at first thinking that they were going to not need the teacher as much, that this was going to be an independent learning endeavor that the student would journey upon, which independent learning is wonderful. And I remember doing all this planning on the iPad as if it were the Montessori classroom with the apps, and sequencing them and putting them in files and categories that were going to flow for the student to go from one lesson to the other. I remember looking up after tens of hours of working on this and saying to my husband, this isn't going to eliminate the teacher. You still need the teacher. And the teacher, I like to use words like the mentor, the person that guides, the person that facilitates, the person that cultivates, the person that nourishes. And a lot of this comes from the philosophy of Maria Montessori upon what she thought was important for teacher development. And I think so often that's eliminated, and it's eliminated for a variety of reasons, because how can one person be that to a large classroom? It is difficult, but that's why we learn some of the community classroom preparation in Montessori, that we help to facilitate learning, independent learning, partnership learning, small group learning, and large group learning. I think probably as I'm speaking that a lot of who I am and how I have lived my life, because us teachers that went through persons that went through teacher training in a Montessori training, we changed as people as well. It was said that it would apply to life. And I will say one of the most significant was when I compared my 1-year-long internship as a Montessori teacher in the lower elementary level to my 1 semester as a student teacher at the we in the Montessori community have called it traditional education. That was intensive. To have a master teacher, a mentor that you worked under and had an internship was significantly different than the semester I had in the public school system. Very, very different. And I had the fortunate experience at the time when I was doing elementary education, first, second, third, which was ages 6 to 9, having 2 mentors at the time. And then when I did the early childhood training, I had another 1-year-long internship with a master teacher, as well as in the training program in each area of development, whether it be philosophy, practical life, mathematics, reading, a master teacher in each area, which I think is significant. Not to say again that parents are the best teachers most often, but they do need support and help. And I'm wondering if I need to say any more at this point, because my topic is about what makes a good teacher. And I do think, again, to summarize, that it takes both a preparation of the personal development. It also does take an understanding of curriculum being understanding developmentally. I believe there has been so much reinventing of the wheel. And when you look at Maria Montessori's mathematics curriculum, and that means from the very beginning, teaching concepts that one-to-one correspondence with, where she starts with, I'm trying to think back, the very first lessons are the spindles. And the spindle boxes are these long wooden rods, and you place them into the child's hand, and you say, this is 1, this is 2, and the child grasps that and holds on to what 1 is and what 2 is, kinesthetically feels it, sensorially feels it. Oh, it's coming back. The whole sensorial education. And if you're not familiar with it, just look up the Maria Montessori's sensorial educational curriculum that's on the preschool shelves. So you understand sensorially what a child may have missed later on, that they don't understand some of the basics concepts in math, and it's all a hands-on, seeing, feeling, hearing the teacher say, this is 1, show me 1, and the teacher presenting 1 and asking, what is this? 3-period lesson is significant. I don't want to elaborate too much more on the details of Montessori education because I don't want to overwhelm any parents that are working with your children, because there's also this element that I learned in the arts. And I love to dance. I was a gymnast. I loved storytelling. So I also think there's this creativity and spontaneity and being intuitive to the freshness of being alive with a child, or being alive with the improvisational aspects of art. Be that said, that's when I explain and share to people, trust yourself. Because if you don't have that, then understanding all the details of a curriculum and how to teach addition or how to teach multiplication, how to teach reading, you're not going to pick up on the sensitivities of what the learner needs. And that's what I think is important. And I have said that to people. If you don't have any of the background, or you don't have that, if you have what I just shared, if you have that sensitivity, then you will be able to spark learning, inspire learning. And that's what's important. And that's what somebody needs. That's why you need to be side by side with them, whether you're a trained certified teacher or not. And that's not to say I don't value it, because I do think overall, if I were to talk about the public school system, I do think that there are a lack of quality trained teachers, and it's the quality trained, I wouldn't necessarily just use the word trained, it's the quality formation of a person before they get to the classroom, or they have the mentorship and they have the internship to develop what they need to be in the classroom. And maybe overall, now that I've discussed this, is what's missing in the public school system. In the Montessori teacher training programs, we have mentors. You're a co-teacher first, you're an assistant teacher first, working under a master teacher. And that's what's needed. It's very helpful for the person that is what's called the head teacher in the classroom, and sometimes Montessori education uses director or directress, Maria Montessori used, because you are more of a director, like a person that is at the head of the orchestra and making sure that the learning environment is nourishing and cultivating. And I believe that parents can do that. as well. I hope I really enjoy being able to have conversation with my imaginary audience. It's very fulfilling for me, and I hope to contemplate and consider other topics of conversations that I can share based on my experience anecdotally again. And I haven't done a lot of updating and reading on recently published works. I just at this point want to share what I did learn. I was in the classroom for 12 years. I had everything from a Montessori classroom, a public school classroom, a charter school classroom, a preschool classroom. I had a variety. I just really enjoyed the development of children from preschool on up. I even taught a college level aerobics class, which was very interesting for me. I couldn't find my place to land at any specific age, and I will share with you that my Montessori preschool training was the most foundational for me. I often wondered why it was that teachers that had worked for years and had started out at preschool teachers were so good at managing a school and founding their own Montessori school, working with parents, communicating. And I think it was because they really had that foundational development of a person, of a human, that it is something that we cultivate and something that is formative for both the teacher, the parent, and the child. It's a working relationship. It really is teamwork. And I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. For those of you that do have the time to listen to my conversation with you, and please leave any comments or like the video or even subscribe, because feedback is important. I really do appreciate the feedback in it. I find it very fulfilling. I want to thank you because my daughter's upstairs right now. It's a Saturday. We're having a snowstorm that's arriving here in Colorado. And for me to be able to come downstairs and have a conversation about the educational thoughts that go through my head is just really fulfilling for me. Gives me a purpose. And I plan on working with Trinity today, and we'll have some fun, and we'll do a variety of things from reading and typing and writing and some artwork and some chores, which is practical life. For example, like folding clothes or unloading the dishwasher, and enjoying the beautiful, beautiful snow. So I want to thank you, and you have a nice day.